So today I want to talk about the one-day install. It seems that a lot of companies will send an install crew out to replace a system, no matter what it is, and expect them to get it done in one day. And the scope of the work doesn't really matter. It's all got to get done by the end of the day. So let's say you had it changing from an 80 to a 90% furnace where you got to run new vent pipe, to replacing the line set, the drain line, ductwork modifications, indoor air quality upgrades. It doesn't matter, they want you done in a day. And I'm not going to sit here and say that it never works and that you should never have that as a goal. But I think what ends up happening is that companies that do not have the unicorn install crew that can get that done, that are not organized to keep their trucks and trailers well stocked, that aren't sending somebody in advance there to get all the duct measurements that they need so that that install just moves very, very smoothly and quickly. They still have that expectation. And so what ends up happening with those companies that aren't as organized is that towards the middle of the afternoon, the crew still has a lot of work to do. They have some materials that they really need, but they know that if they go get them, or if they call the office and have someone run out there to bring it to them, the job's going to take longer. They may not get done that day. The boss may get annoyed at them. And so they end up just using what they have on the truck. And when you think about that, that's a very poor decision to make, because you're talking about the next 10, 20 years of the life of that unit and beyond. And you're making a decision based on what will get you out of that job that day. And it's a mentality that a lot of companies use because they want that crew on another job the next day to be as profitable as possible. And I get it. I'm not saying that we should not try to be profitable. But when you are charging $20,000, $25,000 for an installation, there is no reason why you can't send that crew back for a half a day, or maybe send one person back the next day to finish up and to do a good job, to make sure everything's pretty, to go through your checklist, and most importantly, to do a good startup and commissioning. And that's what ends up getting lost in a lot of these one-day installs, is that it is now 7 or 8 o'clock. They finally got done. This install crew is tired. They're dehydrated. The family is annoyed at them because they're trying to sit down and have dinner. They got kids that need to get baths. They got homework to do, and you still have this work crew that's working. That install crew is not going to do a good commissioning. Even if you've trained them how to do it, they're in no position to do a good commissioning. And I recognized this years ago. And so when I ran my contracting business, if we had something like a typical gas furnace change out, we were going to replace the furnace, the coil, the condensing unit. We always would also replace the pad, the disconnect, the pan, all those other ancillary things. A lot of times we would replace the line set if it was compromised. If we were changing from an 80 to a 90% furnace, we did that as often as we could. We would also have to run new vent pipes. We would put in media air filters on every job if we could. So we're adding things to the scope of work. And I recognized really early that there was no way that we're going to do a quality job and a quality startup and commissioning and try to get it all done in a day. So what our goal was to do was to restore whatever part of the system needed to run that night, and to come back the next day on something with that big of a scope of work. And so if it was the middle of summertime, we would get the air conditioning going. So I would tell the guys, I don't want to see you hooking up gas lines or vent pipes until the AC is running. It was always going to be a 2-day job for a furnace and AC change out, just because of all the extra things that we would do. And then we would send one person back to hook up the gas line, to hook up the vent pipe, and then to do a proper commissioning and startup, get all the trash up, get rid of it, just do all that other stuff that it takes to complete a job. A good startup and commissioning takes at least 2 hours to do it correctly. And that way everybody was getting home at a decent time on both days. We knew we were doing a good job. Our checklists were getting filled out, and I can tell you our callback ratio was very low on those jobs. But I know a lot of companies just want to send the crew to another job the next day, and maybe you've got that much work, But a lot of it is they're trying to sell that much work. They're not satisfied unless they have 5 changeouts for one crew to do every week. So they're not even trying to do a quality job by sending the crew back for a second day. Now, again, I'm going to come back to the fact that there are crews out there that can do everything I just talked about doing, do it well, make it look pretty, do a good commissioning, and they can do it all in one day. But those are unicorn crews. And what we all know now is that we are putting less experienced people in trucks and sending them out to jobs just because of the nature of the demand for tradesmen. And so how could we expect the same level of productivity, quality, efficiency in the same time frame from a green crew that we would expect out of a crew that was really, really on the ball? So I think it's a problem, and I encourage you, if you're in a position as a contractor or as a manager that you can slow things down. Trust me, if you're selling a gas furnace, air conditioning, and you're charging enough, you can come back the second day. You don't have to be in such a hurry and putting that pressure on you and your crews to get everything done in the same day. Because what's going to end up happening is something's going to get missed, something's not going to get done, and it's going to cost you more than what that job profit margin was. They're going to miss something. You're going to have a gas leak. You're going to have a condensate drain that's leaking. You're going to have something that's going to cost you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage because you got in a hurry. There's no reason why we need to be putting ourselves in those positions. Sell your jobs right, give your people enough time to do it right, make them process driven so they do the same processes over and over again. They get their reps in and they get good at it. That's my advice. Let me know what you think. How do you do things at your company? Thanks for watching, and as always, work safe.